Well, I'm just going to keep this really short and sweet. This is Kimberly, and she has connections here in Tahoe, but also from the Bay Area, correct?
Correct.
And we're going to talk about this favorite word that I've been trying to learn for the last month. Can we all say it together? Ayurveda. Yes. That way I didn't have to say it by myself. Over to you, Kimberly.
Thank you. And I'll turn this on. Just, is that better than this? Okay, awesome. So you all have a paper plate with you, and then also a plate of one of each of the 6 food items up there. We're just going to taste those as we go through the different tastes of Ayurveda. And this is kind of going to be, it's like a taste wheel that we're going to be making, so kind of get an idea of what we're going to be doing here. So I think a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the terms in Ayurveda we use constantly, just not the Sanskrit version of it, but the English version. So if I say someone's been really sweet today, you know what that means. Or if anybody think of somebody salty today? A little sour. We use these terms a lot, and we also use the terms of hot and cold. So if somebody's, oh, they have a cold personality, or ooh, got the cold shoulder today, what does that mean? You know, we have an idea of that. If we say they're warm and fuzzy, we know what that means. So we're going to be learning about 3 qualities today as well, and one of them being hot and cold. So the food we eat significantly can alter our emotional state, and vice versa. On the flip side, when we are feeling out of balance, when we're going through grief or sadness, we might want to create that sweetness in our life. So we might reach towards our food items to get that balance for ourselves. It's like an intelligent way that our body reacts that we may go another direction if we do too much. So Ayurveda and why I'm so passionate about it. So I went through over 10 years of extreme chronic illness with Lyme disease and toxic mold. I was bedridden for most of the time, and Ayurveda is one of the things that pulled me out of that experience. So this is profound for me, and I love being able to share these teachings in whatever way I can with everybody else because I know how powerful they are. So these are the 6 tastes. So if you look at your plate, you can probably figure out which ones of each they are. So look at your plate. What do you think sweet would be on this plate? So chocolate does have added sugar to it. So but chocolate on its own without any additional sugar is actually very bitter. So chocolate is a bitter taste. But what else on our plate would be sweet? Orange. Yeah, so orange is our sweet taste for today. And then the bitter would be, we have 2 on our plate that go with bitter. So we just talked about the dark chocolate. What else would be in there? Yeah, the arugula. And then we have spicy. So I think that one's pretty self-explanatory here. The little bits of the pepper, chili peppers on there. And then we have salty, and that one's also pretty self-explanatory. We have some salt on our plates. And then sour, what's our sour? Lemon. And then dry, so dry is the one that we are not familiar with in Western. We have 5 tastes, right? This is kind of like a bonus one. Actually, saliva is what allows us to taste anything. So it's the moisture in our mouth which activates the taste buds, which allows us to taste. So when we have drying foods, it kind of pulls the flavor away, it lessens that flavor. So anybody know what the dry flavor is on the plate? Pomegranate, yes. So pomegranate is drying. When you'll feel that astringency in the mouth. It'll like suck the moisture away. Another dry food is like popcorn, because the popcorn is very dry in quality. So when you put it on your tongue, it actually absorbs that saliva off the tongue. So there can be the quality of it from the pomegranate that's got the drying, or it can be from the popcorn where it's just dry in texture and it pulls the moisture away. So what is Ayurveda? Ayurveda is traditional Indian medicine from India. It's 5,000 years old. There's a bunch of Vedic texts on Ayurveda, and this translates to life science, or the science of life. It covers literally every aspect that you can think of, even design and architecture. It goes into all different avenues of the body and how our body responds to everything, our daily lifestyle practices, our food intake, absolutely everything, every molecule on Earth has properties to it which can be seen from the Ayurvedic lens. This is going to be a very, very small takeaway from Ayurveda. So we're specifically talking about the 6 tastes and the emotions that are in relation to it. But there are so many different wonderful rabbit holes that you can fall down with Ayurveda. So this is going to be the first introduction to like what our plate will be kind of sectioned out into here. So we have the bitter, the salty, the sour, spicy, sweet, and dry. And you can see this is also the first introduction to our facial expressions with our taste. So that is also something we don't consciously think about, is that when someone makes a sour face, it can be to something that's going on in life, or it can be to the sour lemon that you're eating. Every single food item has all 6 tastes in it. So every single one of those foods that are on your plate there will carry the molecular structures of the 6 different tastes in them. It's just that certain foods are going to be predominantly one or another. You may have a fruit that's sweet and sour, and you're kind of like, it's kind of in the middle of both of those. So that would be just something to note and say, okay, if I'm balancing something out here, that is where I can taste the sour and the sweets in this. But going forward, that'll make more sense. So here we're going to start with our plate here. So on the outer rim, now if you want, we're going to be drawing the 6 pie slices here. So if you want to fold the plate in half so that you get like a clear line down the middle, that might be easier just to get like an initial guide into how to section this. And then you can just draw that line down the center. And we're going to be starting with the bitter taste. So I rotated my plates so that bitter was at the top, and I just wrote bitter. And then I moved to the next one and I wrote salty. So I rotated it with, so that when I look at it, it's all like facing, you can see like that. Yeah, no, I'll get closer. Yeah, so that way they're all just facing inward. So like as you go through your wheel, then you have this to reference later, just kind of turns with you. Does that make sense? Anybody else need to see this? Yes. Yeah. You're welcome. And then this is just, we're not going to write any of this down. This is just a quick overview of what it is to be in a balanced state of emotion with each of these. So when we are feeling balanced in our bitter emotions, we are introspective, we have mental spaciousness, self-awareness and clarity, healthy detachment, and we're creative. When we're salty, we have zest, courage, confidence, and enthusiasm. Sour is appreciation, understanding, wakes up your brain, sharpens your senses, it adds to discernment. Spicy is clarity, passion, enthusiasm, vigor, expansiveness, and curiosity. Sweetness is love, joy, compassion, satisfaction, peace, happiness, calm, clarity. And dry is stable, organized, collected, gathers your mind. So this is what also, this will be available for you afterwards. I have a QR code so that you can get to all of this afterwards. So you will be able to reference this. This is the balanced state of emotions with us. So just like everything, we have the poles. So we have the balance, and then we have the imbalances. And we're going to be going into the imbalances more in depth here so that we can understand when we're feeling a certain way, how we can change our food and lifestyle adaptations to kind of tailor to what we're needing in that moment, because it's fluid. We're always changing in life. So this, we have the taste on the outside there. We're going to put a ring circle in the middle here, so that I'll come around with this again so you can see. So we're going to draw a circle in the middle, and we're just going to be writing 3 words on each of those pie slices on the inner circle. as we go forward here. So, I mean, circle as much as we can circle on this. I practiced this a couple times before I got this one good. So our bitter foods are our coffee lovers, our chocolate lovers, and our salad lovers. Anybody here fall in that category? So when we think of bitter, we might not say like, oh, I like bitter foods because that's bitter, but it's a huge part of our diet. So bitter melon, kale, collards, dandelion greens, eggplant, Jerusalem artichokes, sesame seeds, coffee, dark chocolate, and then we have spices. Spices are so important. And cumin, dill, and turmeric. So the emotions also come with those facial expressions, and you'll notice here that the facial expressions of bitter have this like turned up nose here. So you'll be somebody who has a very bitter life, like they're not just having a bitter moment, a bitter meal, or a bitter day, but they're stuck in that. They're gonna have that line go up their nose like that. It's actually gonna change the muscle structure of our face, because as we taste foods, we'll make various different expressions. But that's also the emotions that go into that. So this is where they actually get like plastered on our face after time. So that is a key. You might notice this in people now. You'll be like, oh my gosh, they have that thing going on there. They might need some sweets in their life. So this is where we're gonna write what's in here. You don't have to write all of them, just to get a couple. So if you are feeling a lot of bitter emotions, you might be feeling spaced out, you might be feeling nervous, you might be feeling isolated, dissatisfied, cynical, filled with grief, rejection, or boredom. And again, this is going to be referenceable after the presentation, so if you don't get them all down, it's okay. Then we have our salty food. So salt is pretty self-explanatory. It's all different kinds of salt. However, we do have one food item that has a lot of salt in it, a lot of sodium naturally. It's celery. And then we have celery, seafood. Anything that comes out of the sea is going to have a lot of sea salt in it. So we're going to get a lot of our salts from any kinds of foods that are coming from the sea. Interesting is Himalayan salt. So every single salt, except for Himalayan salt, is heating in quality. That means it's going to bring heat into the body. So if we're cold, we can eat salt to help heat us up. However, Himalayan salt is cooling, so if you have too much heat in the body, it can actually help to balance out the system in that way. We also have a lot of hidden salts, so oddly, instant pudding has a lot of hidden salts in it. Cottage cheese, ham, processed meats, soups, all the packaged stuff. That's all gonna have that extra hidden salt in it. Salty emotions. So the salty emotions, I think we all know, it's kind of like resting bitch face. We're gonna have that, just that look. That also can be bloating in the face as well. So we can get, this is an exaggeration of it, but this is where the eyes can get puffy. We're holding onto water with that salt, so it's drawing in that moisture into the body. It might be time to try something new. If you're noticing that you're feeling greedy, you're wanting to hold on to things, irritable, possessive, overambitious, or addicted. So salt, as it holds water into the body, it also holds our wanting of safety and security and holding on to things. Hoarding can be another thing with this as well. Our sour food, so this is anything fermented, acidic, or that tangy flavor. So a lot of people will need that tang in their meal. They'll need that in their salad dressing, or have a meal in the day that has that tanginess to it. That is going to be through grapefruit, lemon, lime, tamarind, pickles, sourdough bread, sour cream, yogurt, vinegar, and fermented foods. And I just realized that I forgot to have you taste the foods when we were going through the other ones, so let's try lemon. And so we'll do the other ones as well. So lemon, and notice your facial expression when you are tasting that lemon. Like, how does that feel? You feel how it's sucking into the face. You're like holding in. And then let's do the salty. So if you have one of those little grains of salt, just like taking a little bit of the salt in. Just noticing what that feels like in the mouth, what your facial expression does. Like a thing for salty is like very much like, ugh, you know, like this is really salty. And then we have our bitters, so you can try the arugula and the chocolate. And notice like kind of how you feel with each one of these. There might be even a sense of memories coming up with this, where you know we've had certain foods at different points in time, and that triggers various different emotions that come up. So food is very, very tied to our emotions in many ways. So frowning, pursed lips, the face pulling inward, turning down in the mouth. Various people will have different expressions of what some of these are. So sour has a little bit more variety in how our facial expressions might express. It might be time to cut back on the sour foods. If you're feeling your mind closing in, again, this is that drawing in of the lips. You'll notice that some older people will have like all the little lines around their mouth and they're permanently puckered, holding it. They're probably not sharing a lot of information. They're probably not venting and talking and getting things out. So this is like where we suck in that. And we can notice when these things start to happen in subtleties, maybe where something happened and it's obvious that we went through a moment of something really hard, and we're acting a little bit more sour at that moment, and then we can acknowledge that and say, okay, I don't want to stay in this, I'm going to move through this, and these are some tools to help us move out of those spaces so we don't stay stuck in that. It's just bringing an awareness to it. So the mind closing in, envy, jealousy, selfishness, again, it's that pulling in selfishness, anger, hatred, and withholding communication. That is huge. So literally closing in the mouth, I don't want to talk to anybody. Spicy food, they are also referred to as pungent in Ayurveda, but I was making it more obvious. We'll just use spicy. So this is our chilies, our garlic, our leeks, onions, mustard green, radish, turnips, raw spinach. Most spices are going to be heating in quality to some extent. Again, every food has all 6 of the flavors in it, so there will some will be a little spicy and a little sweet, or a little spicy and a little drying. But most of the spices do have heat to them, so black pepper, cardamom, cayenne, cloves, ginger, paprika, and cinnamon. And feel free to try one of those spicy peppers if you dare. You can take a bite of the arugula afterwards if you need to kind of clear that spice out. So spicy emotions, also it's bringing in a lot of heat to the body. So we talked about this with the salt, bringing in the heat into the body. The spice will heat you up. It will, on an overeating of heat, it will be like a hot day where your face is drawn and sweating. You just look like, people look tired on a hot day, right? It's the same thing after eating a really, really spicy dish of food. Like you might notice that people like are looking more drawn, you know, just like maybe there's a little heat in the face and then it's almost like it's like a colorlessness as well. And that's an overeating of spicy. The mouth is trying to open to cool off. So that could be mouth in an O shape or a dropped jaw. The mouth is just trying to open and bring the cool air into the body to cool down the system. You might be looking for some other flavors if you're really feeling a lot of anger, envy, irritability, competitiveness, and impatience. So again, this is like thinking of you're out with your family on a hot day and everybody's getting a little irritable, everybody's getting kind of angry, a little more short-tempered, steam coming out of the ears. That is the body's way of expressing that there's too much heat in the body, and we can do that with our food as well as our temperature. So sweet foods, this is referring to naturally sweet foods. So this is really important. We did not have processed sugar or artificial sweeteners like we have now up until like the last 60, 70 years really. It was very expensive to have sugar, and we really didn't use processed sugar or anything. Ayurveda was written 5,000 years ago. So they're referring to what people's taste buds were taking in when before we had this alteration of our taste buds. Now it's in the kids' mac and cheese, you know, we're getting this in cereal, like everything that has its own flavors to it are getting completely drowned out by the sugar and the artificial sweeteners that's in everything. So this makes it a little bit trickier, but the naturally sweet foods are going to be our fruits. You know, most of our fruits, we have cooked carrots. That's another thing in Ayurveda is that some of the foods are going to drastically change in quality based on if they're cooked or if they're raw. Carrots, for example, are going to be super sweet when they're cooked, and they're going to be more bitter when they're cold. Then we also have some things that you might not really think of as sweet. I mean, sweet corn, I think we all kind of know that one. Rice is actually sweeter. Wheat is sweeter. Red lentils, almonds, cashews, coconut, pumpkin, and actually milk is very sweet. Beef is very sweet. So those are ways that you can naturally get the sweet flavor in without going towards sugar. So if you're feeling the emotions of being out of balance with sweet, there might be a way to do it that is not even something that we've thought of before. All right, so the sweet emotions, they bring on the smiling, the relaxed face muscles, pleasantly closing the eyes, lifting the cheeks. So these two ladies right here have lived a pretty sweet life. You can see all her wrinkles are up into her cheeks, around her eyes. She's smiling a lot. She has a lot of sweetness in her life. It's plastered on her face. And this lady doesn't really have that many wrinkles, but you can see her cheeks. The muscles in her cheeks are really strong. She's been smiling a lot throughout her life. So if you're noticing that you are feeling possessive, lust, greed, materialism, craving things, attachment, stuckness, these are all the out of balance emotions of a sweet taste. That again, like the salt, it's holding on to things. It's holding the water into the body. It's also holding down. We want to bring attachment into our life. Again, hoarding can go under this too. Dry foods. So, oh, sweet. Let's try our orange. We'll get them all in there. And then for the dry foods, this is also astringent in Ayurveda. So this is going to be the pomegranate, so feel free to try that pomegranate as well. The cranberries, potatoes, most raw vegetables are going to be more on the drying side, and this might be a little confusing when you think about it because vegetables have a lot of water in them, right? But actually the body has to cook the water out of those, so it takes a lot of heat and energy and effort for the stomach to cook raw vegetables. So that's why it can be drying to the body, is because it's not actually just taking in that liquid and being able to use it, it's having to process it. And we have pasta, rye, crackers and chips, popcorn, chicken, especially the breast meat of chicken, oregano, turmeric, basil, bay leaf, and most beans. So if you are a plant-based and you're eating a lot of beans and you're noticing that your hair is getting dry, your skin is getting dry, your eyes are getting dry, you might want to add in some of the other proteins that are going to be away from beans. There are a list of beans you can look at which are going to be less dry as well. So that's also an option to look into. But I actually had that happen. So I was plant-based for a while and I ate a lot of beans and noticed that everything was running out a little bit. So dry emotions, this is going to mostly show up as dry, dull, patchy skin. You might have some flakiness in the skin or in the hair, sunken eyes, the darkness around the eyes, dark eye circles, wrinkles, and sagging skin. So that's why we moisturize our skin topically, right? Is to keep that helps with wrinkles, but also internally giving our body the moisture it needs really, really, really helps with that as well. It might be time to taste something new if you are having a lot of fear, anxiety, sadness, rigidity in the body. If something's drying out, it's going to be more rigid. Think about plastic. You know, when plastic starts to dry, it's going to be more fragile and break. So this is This is the same thing with our body. Our skin will be more prone to tearing as well. Our ligaments and tendons, everything. Obsession, resentment, and emotional heaviness. As we're holding on to that, or it's just kind of sitting there, like it's like sediment that's drying out, it's just kind of sitting in the body. So this is going to be that inner circle here that we're going to be writing in. These are the introduction to the qualities of each day. So in Ayurveda, there are 10 opposite qualities to every food, every molecule here on the planet. We are going to be talking about 3 of them here to in relation to the taste. So on this side here, these are all the hot foods and also all of the oily foods. On this side here, we have our cold, and not all of them are going to be direct opposites, but some of them are. So I kind of set this up so that, so bitter and spicy are direct opposites. So if you're having an imbalance in one of those, you know you can go across the wheel to the other one and to help balance yourself out. Also, dry and sour are direct opposites. Sweet and salty have the combo of the oily together, but they have 2 qualities that are opposite of each other, so those can also help to balance that out. And this is where it's really easy and practical to say, oh, okay, I'm feeling this way and noticing the emotions of this. Now let me look at what the qualities of that are, and you can just right there see an easy way to go directly to another part on the wheel and help balance that out. And again, this is going to all be referenceable afterwards too. So here, if you would like to add on the outside rim of this, you can do these outer rim here, so that is going to give you the answer. So if you're like spicy, I'm too spicy right now, I need some bitter and some rice. So you can add those in to that as well. This just gives you a really easy example. So if you're feeling that sourness, then the bitter, the sweet, and the dry are going to have the opposite qualities to that. Again, the 2 of them are direct opposites across the wheel, and we will have this referenceable afterwards, so don't worry about getting them all down here. So all 6 flavors exist in every food again. Every plate of food you make has some percentage of each of these flavors. We need all 6 flavors to stay healthy and balanced. These are the molecules that we need to keep our body running. We create balance by listening to what our body, our taste is asking for right now. So my plates get a little wonky in these because I was trying to adapt it to fit like this, so just excuse the wonkiness of it. This one's the best one. So this is Debbie's plate. I did this presentation for my mom, and she was like, did you write this about me? So it became Debbie's plate. So rice, crackers, Debbie has for breakfast. Salad, she can eat that for lunch and dinner. Crackers for a snack. 4 cups of coffee a day and dark chocolate after dinner. So what are the predominant flavors that she's eating here? So the opposites are pretty obvious on here. We can see in the percentage here that she needs to add some sweet, some spicy, and some sour into her plates. And this, when we replace one thing, we want to make sure that we're not adding it in another area too. We will crave the things that our body has gotten used to eating. So like if we're used to eating spicy, we're going to want that. It's going to take a couple weeks for the body to calibrate away from that. And that's the part where it gets like, you know, I want what my body's used to having here. But we can absolutely do it slowly. We can just make little adaptations here and there and kind of be more gentle with ourselves in that switch over. And then we have Isaiah's plate. So Isaiah likes to have omelet with peppers for breakfast. Eggs are actually have a lot of sulfur in them, which is heating qualities. So he's also getting the heat from the eggs here. Giant pickle, like one of those spicy pickles. and jalapeno olives as a snack, and garlic and spicy pasta for dinner. Tomatoes are also heating and quality as well, and ginger kombucha. So kombucha is going to be heating. That has like that alcohol fermentedness to it. So that is heating and quality. We all know alcohol is hot. You know, like that heats up our body. That's why the dogs would carry the whiskey in their little barrels around their neck to help heat up people up afterwards. So what are the two main things that Isaiah is eating a lot of here? Yeah. And so for him, he's also eating a lot of salted, but you know, he's really not getting any sweets or any dry. He's being a little bitter, but just adding in, starting to add in the bitter, the sweets, and the drying is going to help, because these are all oily in quality as well. So that's wetness. So he needs to dry this out with these. Then we have Maya's plate. So Maya, she likes the sweetness in life. She's got oatmeal and berries for breakfast, yogurt for a snack, and a banana. She likes her wheat pasta and cream sauce. Remember, both of those are naturally sweet in quality, the milk, and then also the pasta is naturally sweet. And then she likes her milk chocolate after dinner. So the dark chocolate has a lot of that bitterness to it, but the milk chocolate is going to have that milk in it to really sweeten it up, and it's probably going to have a lot of added sugars as well. So Maya is kind of got more where she could add literally any of the other flavors in, and that would help to balance her out. So we might notice that where we're suddenly eating a lot of one specific flavor, and then we can just kind of add in a little bit of all the other ones to balance that. But what do we do when we're craving a food that we're imbalanced in? So sweet and salty are highly addictive, and they're highly addictive together. All the snack companies, all the 7-Elevens know this. They've got all that pretzel, chocolate covered pretzels in there. They know the kettle corn, you know, this is what lights our brain up with our endorphins. So the most frequently craved and overused. In moderation, we may notice that we're having a couple bites of these foods and we get lit up and we feel good and we're like, oh, this is great. And then all of a sudden we're at the bottom of the bag and we're like, okay, I don't feel so good. I feel way down. I feel heavy. That's that holding on to it. And that can become like a pattern that we've all been in at some point where we've done that for an extended amount of time and we really start to feel heavy and weighed down just in our life in general. So when you are craving sweet foods, you have been seeking compassion, love, sweet touch, and satisfaction. You can balance this by eating sour, bitter, dry foods to lighten up that heaviness. Non-food ways to balance over sweet are any kind of massage, so that touch. So that's going to a spa and getting yourself some nice self-care. It's self-massage as well, especially oil massage can be really, really nourishing for the body. Or you can ask a partner to help you to just nourish that, just get that touch, get that love and compassion, that sweetness in life in a way that's non-food based. Self-care baths, hanging out with your animals, giving your animals some cuddles and pets. Just petting our animals helps to lower our heart rate, helps to soothe us down. That can be super, super nourishing. Hanging out with friends that feel good to be around. You know, we all have those few friends where we're just like, even if it's a phone call, you know, we can just call them, let out what we need to. They'll give us back some you know, love and light, and that'll help to balance this out. And sometimes when we're in this moment where like, I can do this by myself, we notice that we're eating those sweets. And we're kind of going inward in that way instead of reaching out to our community. And that's usually what happens with us. So friends, family, community, that's super important here. And getting out in nature, doing something that just feels good. Like whether that's your favorite place to go around the lake, you know, whatever, hike, something to just get out. When you're craving salty foods, you have been seeking more flavors in every area, some area of your life. So salt like enhances the flavor of everything. So if you're like, I need more salt, it's because you're craving more flavor in some area of life. You can reduce salt and add more herbs and spices. Now again, when we are craving sugar and salt, these are the two that are the hardest to recalibrate because our systems are going to be used to having that intake of that. It's going to be used to getting that lit up serotonin in the brain. When we eat this, that gives us that immediate feel good reaction. So adding in like garlic, more garlic to the foods, or just all different kinds of spices and herbs can really help to take away that need for like just adding salt to it. Non-food way to flavor your life is to travel or just go somewhere new, just any new activities. So maybe a friend has mentioned a spot that they go to that's just beautiful, it's so fun, it's a great whatever hike or whatever it is, and you've been thinking about it and you just haven't done it. So this is a great time to do this, is to just add that newness, that flavor back to life. Getting together with friends to do this can also be super, super helpful. Again, when we get into sweet and salty especially, we often find that we are drawing inwards, maybe spending more time on the couch in front of the TV, not really wanting to communicate with others. So that's a great way to kind of pull us out of this as well. Any kind of intellectual newness, taking a course, a class, going to an art class, or anything new, creativity in general. So maybe there's a project, a hobby, something you're like, I really want to do this, I really want to paint this dresser, or I really want to take that clay class, and learn about sculpting. This is the time to do it. This is like your body saying, it's time. When you're craving bitter foods, you have been seeking a way to express yourself emotionally in your work, in your projects, in your hobbies, or even in your relationships. You can add more expression to your food with spicy, sour, salty, and sweet flavors. And then non-food self-expressions are going to be journaling is a great way to do this. If you like writing in any way, this is a great way to get out that expression. Getting out anger, getting out just irritability, or if you're just questioning, what do I want to do with this aspect of my life? This is a great way to help with that. That self-expression, bringing it outwards to make a decision. Music of any kind, singing, playing an instrument, going to listen to live music. Anything with that is going to help with self-expression. Dancing, fabulous way, whether it's naked in front of your mirror or whether it's out at a concert on the beach, ecstatic dance, any way to express that and get that movement through the body. Clothing is a huge way that we express ourselves. So maybe you've noticed that you're kind of wearing the same outfits. It's like I'm wearing these same color schemes, or I'm really feeling comfortable in this one pair of pants and this shirt. That is a way that we may notice that we are also seeking to express ourselves, or we're hiding ourselves. So kind of maybe pulling out an item that feels a little bit like that out of our comfort zone can help with that self-expression, even if it's just like a brighter pair of shoes or something like that. That can make a difference. And then of course art, any kind of creativity, any way that you can express yourself, that is going to be wonderful at this moment. When you're craving spicy foods, you have been seeking to cool down in any way, cooling down anger, cooling down irritation, cooling down frustration. So dial down the flavor intensity with cooler foods like bitter, dry, naturally sweet taste. A non-food way to cool off, water. Water is going to be the biggest way to help with any of these emotions. If somebody is feeling a lot of anger and irritability, even with little kids, get them in water. That'll help to balance them out. That'll help to earth them down. Bath time can be great for that, or just even visually looking at water calms our system down and cools us off. Meditation, forward folds, any kind of forward fold is going to help to cool the body down, calm the nervous system down, to help with that anger, fight or flight situation that might be going on. Nature, getting outside, getting the negative ions from all of the water around us, big trees, that really helps to cool down our body, ground us down. And then fan, air conditioning, pretty obvious way to cool our body down. Sometimes we just need that. That is self-care, Sometimes we just need to sit under a fan and air conditioning for a while. So when you're craving sour, you have been seeking clarity, direction, or feeling overwhelmed in an area of your life and are finding yourself drawing in again, remembering like the old lady pulling her lips in, that's sucking in. Relax your internal or external pucker by adding sweet, bitter, dry taste to your plate. Non-food ways to relax and find direction are, again, connecting with pets, animals, even sitting outside and watching the nature that's out there, the animals, little critters. Hugging, cuddling, again, when we're pulling inward, we're not wanting to have that connection with the people around us, and that can be really uncomfortable initially. So start where that feels comfortable with you. Maybe you've noticed like you haven't really received a lot of hugs or given a lot of hugs, so that alone can really, really help to balance out the sourness in life. Journaling, allowing yourself, if you're not ready to talk to somebody else or open your body up to a hug yet, journaling can be a great way to begin with that, to just like start writing down, as if you're talking to a friend, what's coming up for you? What do you need to express? What do you need to hear from yourself? What is your inner highest self seeing at this moment? Watching a funny movie, so this could be with somebody else or on your own. Just allowing that kind of that more sweetness, that connection, even if it's with a screen initially, that is a way to open that up, to kind of open up that door and say, oh, I can laugh again, I can let that pucker go. Self-care, any kind of self-care that is right for you, allowing yourself to nurture you in this moment. And then, if you're feeling ready for it, having those conversations with the people that you feel closest to. Usually when it's a sour experience, we have one or two people that we really want to open up to, that we feel safe with. When you've been craving dry foods, you've been seeking stability, grounding, organization, liveliness, or to feel at home. This is the biggest thing with dry. You can create stability by eating sweet, sour, salty, and liven up your flavors. So again, when we have dryness in our mouth, we're not tasting all the flavors. We need that saliva in our mouth in order to taste all the flavors of life. Non-food ways to bring in life and stability. That's not right, but so it's the lotion again, or oil massage. This can be self-massage. This can be asking a partner to help nourish you in these ways. This is meditation again, allowing ourselves to ground down. We're looking for grounding in this area of life. Just relaxing. That is a huge thing here. It's like sitting and looking up at the trees, just allowing yourselves to be present in the moment. That's going to be huge here. Cleaning, organizing, donations, getting rid of things. This is where hoarding is big in this one. We want to hold on to those things. We don't want to let them go. So going through and doing a spring cleaning and starting maybe with the junk drawer, or maybe that table that has that pile of stuff that just keeps getting collected there. It doesn't have to be a big thing. Just even that little bit of visual like reward that we get from cleaning off a little section of our home can really, really help with when we're feeling the seeking of stability and grounding and organization in our lives. When you're feeling emotionally imbalanced, just kind of sum this all up here. Pinpoint the taste of what you're feeling imbalanced in. So you can go to your wheel here and say, okay, I'm feeling a lot of these spicy things right now. Or I'm feeling a lot of these sweet things right now. Then find the opposite qualities. So again, looking at that wheel and seeing what are the opposite qualities to what this one has. A lot of them have direct opposites. There are two that don't have direct opposites, but they'll have two qualities that are opposite of each other. Look for the activities and self-care that can help your system come back to balance. The non-food activities. So this QR code doesn't work, but this is up on my website. So you can feel free to scan this, and this will bring you to the Ayurvedic body type quiz. So this is huge. I highly, highly recommend, if you have not taken a body type quiz, it's going to give you your unique constitution, and you can go from there and have an even deeper understanding of how to implement these tastes into your life. And then from that QR code, from that QR code. Let's see. You can get to the, there we go.
How about we plan to keep that QR code up after you talk about this, everyone?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? I know that's so much information. Is there anything that was kind of on your mind? Feel free to come up and ask me anything afterwards as well. And thank you so much for being here with me and taking in this knowledge that's really got a piece of my heart.